right, so let me get us back to Zoom. All right. So, hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us here this evening. My name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I am here with my good friends, and I'm just going to let y'all say your name and your farm name.
I don't know what order. I'll go next.
I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'll go first. I'm Jennie Love from Love and Fresh Flowers in Philadelphia.
I'm Ellen Frost with Local Color Flowers. We are not a farm, only a florist, in Baltimore, Maryland.
I'm Steve. This is Gretel. Sunny Meadows Flower Farm in Columbus, Ohio.
And I'm Dave Dowling.
Oh,
Got me.
sorry, Dave. Sorry.
I almost went first. I'm Dave Dowling with Ball Color Link. I'm a sales rep for them. I used to have a cut flower farm for 20 years in Maryland.
So I came to know all these people through the ASCFG, that's the Association of Specialty Cut Flower Growers. And we have all been heavily involved, attending conferences and on the board, and we have 2 past presidents. And anyway, so I came to be really a part of this circle of these super knowledgeable people. And we have a little bit of the different industries here for the cut flower world. And I'm going to just ask each one of them to kind of bring us up to date on what is happening in their industry. Tell us what your kind of area of expertise or where your focus is and kind of what's going on there. Jennie, why don't you go first?
Oh, okay, sure. I guess you volunteer your farm first. You have to go first in all the questions. So I am heavily involved in the wedding industry as a farmer florist. I also do a home delivery service, which has happened since COVID. And I also do a lot of workshops at my farm. So those are my 3 areas that I get heavily involved in, as well as wholesale a little bit. But do you want me to talk about that now or just explain what my specialty is?
No, just kind of what your area is. So what is the state of the business now? I mean, are you having a lot of weddings to do? I mean, are your flowers in demand? What's going on?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think across the board in the floral industry, there's tremendous demand. I don't think any of us have seen a shrink of demand unless I'm utterly wrong here. But so there's a vast increase in demand across the board in weddings in particular. We're playing catch up for the past year plus of rescheduling because of COVID reschedules, and then also just a surge of demand in general. There's also a wellspring of new interest in locally grown flowers and seasonal and sustainable floral design. So it's like both of those things are coming together. Those 2 tides are coming to make it one huge wave of just a lot of business for farmer florists in particular that do event design. So there's that. And then with workshops too, that is a huge, I've just never seen so much demand for workshops. I've been teaching workshops for a decade now, on farm, hands-on floral design workshops. And it's just, they sell out in seconds. I can't keep up. And I hear that from a lot of flower farmers that people just want to get their hands on flowers. They want small group experiences at a flower farm. And so that's another huge portion of the industry that I think is just going to grow exponentially next year.
Okay, great. How about you, Steve and Gretel? What's going on there? I think y'all are kind of overcome with florist demand, aren't you? Oh, we can't hear you. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a crazy, especially the past month, when rose shortages have been happening. But, this year for us, we cut out the farmers markets, we cut out selling to wholesalers. Next year, we'll be fulfilling our commitments with weddings, but then being finished with weddings, just so we can focus on florist sales. So we kind of became the wholesaler, I guess, this year. So we've been ordering stuff in from like Charles Little and like Star Valley, other growers, that ship. To have that stuff in our cooler for a florist too. So still like focusing on, flowers that are seasonal or things that we could potentially grow, providing to them, and we're selling it as like coming from Oregon or coming from California, so that people don't know when it's like not coming from our farm. But yeah, it's been crazy. The past month has been, we've cut everything we can possibly cut every day. And the cooler is empty the next morning. Like there's been a lot of flower emergencies. So we are in the process of developing new like boundaries for going into next year. Like now that we, have grown the customer base, thinking about, just like minimums or 24-hour notice or something like that. Because for us, we don't always have everything in the cooler, and we have 2 farm locations. So sometimes if somebody wants something, it's at the other farm. And so it can't just like be here. And so kind of educating the florist on that as well. Like we're not a wholesaler in the way that there's just always things that are bunched and ready in the cooler. It's like if we get your order and then we pick it that morning and then it goes out the next day, So there's been a lot of learning this year, and we have an online store where florists can shop. So that has really helped, because then people can shop anytime and the inventory is live. So if it's in there, then it's available for them, and it doesn't require as much like response from us. You're not like waiting for an email back. Like if you place the order, then that order is confirmed. So so it's been kind of crazy. We're lucky that we were like set up for shipping to florists already, like going into COVID times. That really like expanded our reach, being able to provide flowers to florists when wholesalers were shut down. And I think it was Easter and the wholesalers were closed. So that's really what kind of like, we'd been shipping for a few years, but really like skyrocketed the, just the number of customers that needed us. And I hope that that's what comes out of what's happening in the industry right now is, local flowers were there for you now in this moment. So I hope that you continue to utilize them as a resource, whether that's like planning them in your wedding designs, that's brides being like less specific so that you can use like what's seasonal, and like selling more by the color palette, and the designers having more artistic freedom and being able to do that. So I think it's like, hopefully this is the beginning of a full shift like that, because we sold weddings that way. So I know it's like possible to not promise the specific recipe or whatever. So I think that florists were kind of forced into that recently, that maybe wouldn't have done that before. And so hopefully that creates kind of a shift in the mindset.
Ellen, have you ever heard a better description of people that need to take your course? So Ellen's course is all about, it was like, oh my gosh, Gretel, you just don't even know. Ellen's course is all about helping florists and designers work out how farmers work and why what you just described is not possible from farmers. You know what I mean? That instant, got to have it right now, call and have it just, hit the floor ground running. And so that was, I wanted to keep from chuckling while you were talking. I wasn't laughing at you. It's like, that's exactly what Ellen talks about. And so you've lived it. You've lived the other side of it. So anyway, so why don't you tell us what's going on in your industry, Ellen, and tell us what your industry is.
Well, we are a floral design studio in Baltimore. We do, similarly to Jennie, we do weddings, we do daily deliveries, we do subscriptions. Pre-COVID, we did lots of classes and workshops. We don't have an outside space, and we still have a mask mandate, so we're holding off on those right now. But we are definitely like deep in wedding season. And this is, the fall is always a busy time for us for weddings. But like Jennie said, we are dealing with weddings from 2020 and 2021, all in like a 10 or 12 week period. So we are doing 4, 5, 6 weddings a week at this point. People are getting married on Tuesdays. They're getting married on Mondays. Like there's no rules anymore. It's just like every day is wedding day. And there's also no rules in terms of like, oh, I'm getting married in 2 weeks, and can you do the flowers? And it's a full service wedding. Like there's no like, it's an elopement and it's one bouquet and That's it. It's like a full wedding, short notice. So we are really trying to keep up just with the contracts that we have, while also, fielding consultation requests for next year and the year following. Next year, they say is going to be a record year for weddings. They're saying more weddings next year than we've had in 40 years. And because there is still a problem with international sourcing, we are going to continue to see, what we see right now is more conventional florists and traditional florists who have not sourced locally before, searching out local product for the first time, which is great. There's just like there's a big learning curve, right? There's like the stuff Gretel's talking about. There's just a lot to learn. And so we're definitely seeing more people trying to get local flowers than we have ever seen before. Since I've been doing this for 15 years, we've never seen demand. And, we are now in competition to get flowers with like every florist in the city, where before everybody was just going to a wholesaler and there was only a few of us buying local. Now there's a large number of people searching out local flowers, which makes me have to be at my computer the exact time an availability list comes out so that I can be ready to order. So that's what we're doing. We are just like thick in wedding season right now. And we have not had a frost. We don't have frost in the 10-day forecast. So luckily our growers are still cranking out dahlias in like record numbers. I think we're buying like 2,000 stems of dahlias this week. So that's what we got going on.
Sorry, I couldn't get my finger to unmute myself. So thank you, Ellen. And, y'all, I don't know if y'all are feeling this way, but this is like a really historic time for the local flower source, for local growers. The domestic market could be as ours again. And we just have to really shine. And so, Dave, I want you to share kind of what you're hearing from growers and what they're kind of doing as the person selling them a lot of their seeds and bulbs and plugs and things. But I want to say this, Carl, our stick man, is on Facebook and he wants to know, Jennie Love, how you have flowers behind you when it's dark outside. And our other friend,
it's magic. Oh wait, watch, you can see they're not really behind me.
and so Janice
Virtual
Harris,
backdrop.
Janice, our other good friend, told him, go ask your kids, Carl, they can fix you
They'll
up.
explain it. Yes.
Oh, so sorry, I had to break it there. So Dave, tell us what you're kind of seeing from people trying to plan ahead and get ahead of this incredible wave, tsunami.
Yeah. It's definitely a tsunami, a huge influx of new growers. You also have that. I mean, Ellen can tell you that, 15 years ago, she had half a dozen growers. Now she's got 30 or maybe 40 farmers that she buys from that were not in existence 8, 9, even 10.
Emails every day from new growers saying,
Yeah.
hey,
We have stuff.
5 crops, or
Yeah.
I have these 3 things every day.
So you have that influx of new growers who are great because they can help supply this new demand for cut flowers that's not only going to the retail florists and the designers, but just homeowners who are buying flowers at the farmers markets, buying a flower subscription, a bouquet subscription, a CSA, that kind of stuff. It's not all going to the Ellens of the world. They're going directly to the consumer. And having these new growers are helping to fill that demand because the growers that we had 5 years ago wouldn't have been enough to supply what's needed. And with the disruption in the supply chain, as Steve and Gretel have seen, they're having trouble supplying the new demand that they have, which is probably out of this world compared to what you had just 2 or 3 years ago. And I think that's going to continue because, like you said, these florists and designers now have discovered that, hey, local flowers can supply me. I can use them. They can work. I have to plan my business a little bit different. Can't promise that bride a certain flower on a certain date, but they can just sell them a style and a color, and everyone's happy in the end. So I definitely see that as a benefit in the future for the local grower, that the designers and retail florists have learned that local flowers do work and that they do have a place in the business, not just for the special event where I'm missing something and need at the last minute. They can plan ahead and count on the local grower to supply their store or supply their shop. But I also want to say that with all those new growers also comes shortages. There's always, I've always liked to say, I wish I was selling nuts and bolts because you can always get more out of the back warehouse. But when you're dealing with bulbs and tubers and seeds that sometimes take years to produce, you can't just go get more when all of a sudden you've got 100 new growers who all want 100 of that one variety of dahlia or that one variety of tulip, and they're gone. And you can't just make more overnight. I was just looking today, like for ranunculus, it takes 2 years, a full 2 years to get that ranunculus corm that you're going to grow to get that flower next year. So the grower that produces that corm started that 2 years ago, but from hand pollinating and crossing 2 parent flowers to make the seed, to then grow that for a year to get the corm to sell to the supplier who then sells it to you. So it's not like they can say, oh, we need more cream colored ranunculus this year because it's the in color. They had to make the decision 2 years ago. There's always going to be that lag on the supply and demand. The demand is always trying to catch up, or the supply is always trying to catch up with the demand. And it's just the way it's always going to be in the green industry. There's no way around that. The same thing happens with bedding plants and shrubs at the nursery. When there's a hot flower or a hot plant, you can't always have enough production to meet the demand.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, that is, that's the scary part.
Yeah, so get your orders in early.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't wait.
I've been as a retailer, selling garden goods and seeds. I mean, I am just so candid with people on our lives to say, this is not a marketing ploy, y'all. I'm here to tell you as someone that can't get certain products. I mean, I'm buying so many soil blockers from England so far in advance right now, because the day that they're not available anymore, I mean, that's a big part of our business. You have to stockpile. We're all having to do it. You have to buy before you need it, is what the bottom line is. And that's true with seeds. And I mean, I'm sure you've heard the stories too, Dave. People call and write about their problems, but you can't just create stuff overnight. And so what this really seems to me, I'd like for, let's go around again. And so what is the plan from these seasoned people of moving forward and preparing? I mean, for me, it feels like this is an excellent opportunity for people to hit the reset button on their growing operations, or maybe adding, expanding their business and scaling it by adding events or adding hoop houses or greenhouses. There's just, you kind of are for sure you're going to sell the stuff, is the way it feels. Nothing is for sure, but if you do the work and show up and do it right, this is a great landscape to be starting new stuff in. So Jennie, what would your advice be to somebody brand new or somebody that wants to grow or reorganize in their business? I mean, I love to say to people, the highest dollar you'll ever get for a flower you grow is using it in an event. Is that right? In a wedding?
Yeah, definitely. It sometimes isn't always the highest profit margin. So you always have to understand that balance between what is the retail price and then what do you actually take home. There's such a huge difference between gross sales and net sales, and any type of business, and definitely any type of flower business, needs to really consider the gross versus the net. So it takes some nuances to learn exactly how to do weddings in a way that's profitable, how to price them properly so that you can get there, all of that. But in terms of like where to go from here, if you're a farmer florist or want to be a farmer florist, definitely get stuff in the ground now as fast as you can. Anything, basically. Like, there shouldn't be a bare bed in your farm space at all. There should be something planted everywhere. So whether you need to, hustle to Dave and beg him for some more bulbs, or you get on a plug suppliers like current availability, like ready to go right now plug list, or you go get some seed. I always say seed is cheap. So, take that chance. We're having like this crazy unseasonably warm October right now. So like I can still sell all sorts of stuff that I normally would never sow in October. So you can still get bachelor buttons and agrostema and nigella in the ground right now. And those seed packets just cost a couple bucks each if you can get a hold of them, which you can. So you might as well put something out there. You gotta sow it to be able to sell it. So you better start now. There's too many people that are still like overwhelmed by what this past season was, or worried about next season or whatever. Just you gotta plan it to get it there. And then from there, do a little education over the winter to learn about marketing and about how to do if you want to get into weddings. I have a wedding course just about to open on Friday, an online course called The Wedding Process through the Gardener's Workshop, where I teach, all about how to run a good, profitable, sustainable wedding business. So that's really helpful too. And then the other thing I would say is that the industry is so kind of cracked open right now in terms of the wedding industry in particular, not just the flower industry, but the wedding industry is, it's kind of sad. It's like utterly broken. Like the wedding industry is a bloody mess, for lack of another way of putting it. There is so much change happening right now. There is so many people that have been in the industry for decades who are just walking away, just literally like closing the door and bailing. And that's because we've all been through a war, with COVID, it's just been a war. But that means there's so much opportunity. It's not just that there's more weddings than ever before coming up, but that there's less florists coming up. Like there's fewer established florists. So there's so much potential for getting your foot in the door if you are new to it, or expanding your business if you were just dabbling for a little while. And also, most importantly, Ellen hinted at this earlier too, all rules are out the window. They're all gone. Every rule that ever was that had anything to do with weddings is gone. So we did, like Ellen was talking about, last minute weddings. We booked an $8,000 wedding 10 days before the wedding. So like that kind of stuff is just happening all the time now. Clients are tired, and it's been a hard road for them. And so there's just a lot of room for change in a good way, in a very, very good way, but it is kind of overwhelming sometimes. So I think it's the time to jump. If people have thought about being farmer florists and getting into event design, now is the time to jump and not be scared to do it, because it's never going to be easier, frankly, than it's going to be next year. So yeah. Oh, but one other bit before I forget, the one thing I do have to say is when Dave was saying how the green industry, you can't just go out and get new nuts and bolts from the back warehouse. Well, apparently you cannot get new cylinders from the back of the warehouse, like glass cylinders, any sort of base, any sort of
Yes.
cold glue, any of that stuff.
Get a Harlow
doesn't
stand to save
exist.
your life.
Right. So basically, if you do want to get into floral design and do wedding work, you better start stockpiling inventory now of like the basic stuff, because it doesn't exist anymore.
Seriously,
So,
I want to second Jenny saying that. We are stocking up on everything.
everything.
Jenny had to drive from Philadelphia to Baltimore on Saturday to bring me stands that I can't buy because they've been on back order for a year. Like this is how bonkers things are. Like start buying vases, start buying supplies. Yeah, cold glue, bind wire, all of
Corsage bands, pins, everything, all of it. Buy it now, basically. Yeah. Put your orders in. So anyway, that's my last piece of advice.
Thank you, Jenny. That was great. What about you guys, Steve and Gretel? I know that you guys are heavily invested in growing in houses, hoops and greenhouses. And it sounds to me like now is just a great time for people that want to expand in that way to really take the plunge.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we just put up another big 3-bay like gutter connect to prepare like for more ranunculus, because if this fall was like this, like, there's going to be a huge demand for ranunculus, even more so in the spring. So yeah, now is the time if you've thought about it. And, I think that as far as like Jenny was talking about, like this, smaller growers, there are a lot of like collectives also popping up, now where people can kind of figure out who's growing what and maybe specialize in stuff. So, you know, for us, what we're doing is gonna cut out some of the like summer annuals that a lot of growers grow and just kind of like have that space for specialized. As you know, we grow a ton of dahlias. So this year I think there were like 55,000. And so as we expand the dahlia production, what needs to be cut is some of those other summer annuals that are taking that space so that we can like rotate our fields properly. So you know, I think that even like Jennie was saying, that the seasoned like florists are, you know, I don't know, changing their game or whatever. It's like, that's kind of what we're doing too, is just like kind of focusing on, you know, like, do we need to grow dianthus or ami? Like, how much of this stuff is like valuable? Yeah, as is that valuable in bouquets? And could we be using that space for something better? So
That's
yeah.
kind of where our headspace is right now. But I think with growing in greenhouses and hoops, you know, the demand in the spring is just going to be that much higher. And so, you know, it might be kind of late to construct a whole greenhouse and start growing in it and have early ranunculus right now. But if there is hoop house space that you would have available, or, you know, like early spring stuff, you know, stuff you could plant. And
Yeah.
I mean, we actually, I shouldn't say that, we put up most of our greenhouses in October, November, and
Yeah,
definitely
get them
get
up pretty quick.
plants in there
filled.
by
Yeah.
January and February. So it's definitely not too late, actually.
Yeah. And
So
so I mean,
start building.
and with supplies too, like Dave was talking about, I mean, seeds and stuff, that we've definitely been, you know, saving more of our own seeds. And also like with our dahlia tuber production, we are taking a lot of cuttings to propagate to like help replenish. You know, when we dig our tubers, we also need to make sure that we're keeping enough for us to plant. And so basically, yeah, we need to propagate in order to like replenish that. So that's, we're trying to also figure that out, you know, now that it's about to be digging time. Thinking about, yeah, what are some varieties maybe that we could sell more of if we know that we can take more cuttings. And so knowing that there will be more demand on the supply end too, you know, we're also preparing for that. So yeah.
You know, something that's becoming really clear right now as I'm listening to you guys talk is how everybody's business just is constantly evolving. You know, how some people think that they've done something wrong if they're changing a lot. I mean, you know me, I'm changing every year. It's like I'm always looking to do something different. But this is just a game of flexibility and seeking out, like Steve and Gretel talking about, we're going to dump some of the other crops so we can grow more high value. Those crops were very helpful during a certain stage of their business. You know, stuff just really evolves. And that's just really coming clear to me, is that people need to really understand that there is no one right way. And just because you did it this year has nothing to do with what you might be doing next year. And that's how it works. That's how it really works. And it's really okay. So what do you think, Ellen?
Well, one thing I want to say before I tell you about florist stuff is I want to, like, Steve and Gretel know, and Dave knows my love of winter flowers. I would encourage any grower who has been thinking, right, about putting up a tunnel or putting up a greenhouse. Like, if you've been delaying, this is the year to do it. Now is the time to do it, because demand, like the reason Steve and Gretel are cutting out summer stuff, not only because it's maybe not a high money making, you know, plant, but there's a lot of people who produce flowers in the summer. There's a huge number of new people who have zinnias and you know, a lot of things in the summer. But if you can be growing in those extended seasons, I think that is that's key. So I don't know, for florists, I think if you're thinking about sourcing locally, this winter is the time to get yourself ready. So you have to start building relationships with farmers. You have to I mean, sure, you can take my course and learn all about local sourcing, but you have to really, I think, position yourself so that you are not trying to build a relationship the week before you need flowers. You have to be like, start now, go out for coffee in the winter, start emailing people, start, getting to know growers in your area so that you're ready to go when you need flowers. Don't wait. There's lots of other people that are going to be in line in front of you to get flowers from growers if you don't start making those relationships.
And then also on that, don't wait until you have flowers and then that week contact a florist and try and dump, get rid of a lot of stuff too, because we've been in that situation and it never works out.
Yeah, so from the grower side, reaching out and develop those relationships with florists also, like now is the time,
Yeah.
winter is the time, create a seasonal like projected availability and provide it to somebody. We created one when we were at first by making a harvest log of the number of buckets of stuff that was coming in from the field, because florists need to know like what you're going to have when so they can plan for it. So there's both like sides of that relationship as far as like the responsibility of the grower in order to like provide that service to the florist.
It's kind of like dating, isn't it? It's like you don't marry somebody right out of the gate, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
And most florists who have not bought locally before may not know a lot about seasonality. Like they may not even know what's available when. So even having like, I remember Bob's list, his like laminated list of all the flowers and when they were available. Like we still have that like on the refrigerator, but it's such like an easy tool to give to a florist and be like, okay, here's what we're growing and here's the months that they're available, just to give florists who are used to buying from a wholesaler and getting whatever they want whenever they want it, start to get them used to seasonality, start to get them used to like, okay, peonies are not available in October, dahlias are not available in April. Like this is how it works. So the more we can get educated as florists and the more the farmers can help educate florists, I think the better off we'll be to be ready for the spring of next year.
And if I can just jump in real quick, I'd also say from both perspectives that Ellen and Steve and Gretel have here, though this winter is such a great opportunity for both florists and farmers to develop community as a whole within their local area, not just be like, Ellen wants to make one relationship with this one farmer and now she has to manage that one relationship and the farmer has to manage her. There's this whole concept of cooperative selling that can go both ways, where a florist maybe wants to start buying from local farmers and has enough floor space in the back of their shop that they could offer to host multiple farmers to come, and then other florists come to that shop to get their stuff. So instead of this like every man for themselves, every woman for themselves, good luck out there, we have to have a much more like for this place to live, this like environment we all live in, for us to thrive, both the florists and the farmers at whatever level you're doing business, we have to stop this like competitive isolated mentality and really just like get in it together and figure it out. And it maybe isn't like always sweet and easy and it's going to be messy, but whatever, we got to figure out a new model, everybody. So don't put up barriers, instead just be really open to conversation no matter which side of the industry you're on. And that's what this winter is going to be really great for doing. So encourage people to do that.
Dave, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I
About
just always
what
like
you
to
would-
remind,
Yeah,
I just always like to remind people that selling the flowers is just as important as growing them. So like Ellen is saying, cultivate these relationships in the off season. You still need to cultivate it all summer and all season, but working to sell the product, the flowers, is just as important as growing the best flower you can grow. Because you can grow all the flowers you want, but until you sold them, you haven't made any money and you're not going to keep yourself in business. So you have to put the effort out there and the time and the expertise to make that sale, make that relationship, find those florists, whether it's find the florist, finding a new farmer's market, a new way to sell your flowers, but a way to sell all the flowers you're going to grow, because next year you need to grow a lot of flowers. because sales are going to go through the roof. I had customers this year whose sales by late June had already surpassed the year before sales. So, half the year's over and they've already sold everything they sold the year before. And I expect that to happen next year. Some of those customers have doubled or even tripled their orders for tulips or plugs because they know sales are going to be insanely good next spring. But again, you have to work at making that sale. You can't just grow it and show up and say, here's my stuff. Like Steve says, you got to plan ahead. Don't knock on a florist door the week you have all your crops blooming. They have to know weeks in advance that you're going to have this stuff. And then once you have it, you got to be able to have and supply them every week.
I want to say a couple things. I'm just watching over on Facebook too, and you guys aren't aware of this, but whenever we do lives, we've started asking all of our students, everybody's students here, to always use the little sunflower emoji to kind of identify them as our students. And there's a lot of sunflowers over there. So we have a lot of our folks that are watching us. And when Ellen was talking about, when actually Gretel mentioned about selling weddings by not having specific flowers, Ellen did a great talk about that. And it is over on my podcast, Field and Garden. You can find a lot of her talks over there that relate to that. And, I just feel like this is just such an optimistic time for our industry to move forward. And I think so much that you guys, especially Ellen and Jennie, that are in this wedding, in the front seat of the wedding scene, that the rules are being rewritten. And I just couldn't be happier to be with a better group of people that are helping to lead that way. I mean, I'm not kidding. I've known all of y'all for over a decade, and you just are such leaders in the industry. So I did post on the Facebook feed a link that will take you to everybody. Everybody here has a course teaching you how to do what they're talking about. And we would love to have you go and investigate it and check it out. And enrollment for all but mine and Dave's is happening in the next month, over the next month. And we would just really encourage you. Why don't you, Jennie, just say what the name of your course is and when registration is and when school is? Because I'm sorry, I know I'll screw the dates up. Do y'all, everybody know their dates? Go ahead, Jennie. Go give it a whirl.
I don't know my dates.
Well, but you
put way
that
too much faith in me. The name of the course is The Wedding Process. I know that much. And then the registration window opens up this Friday, October 15th, and I believe it closes October 18th.
Yes.
Or is it the 18th or not? Are you giving me the 5? Like, is it?
No, that's it. That's it. It's
That's
5
it. Okay.
It's open. It closes on Tuesday. I don't know what that date is, but I know it's open for 5 days.
So I think that means it closes on the 19th. And then I don't know the exact dates that it starts. Sometime in November, and it finishes before Christmas.
So her course runs at the same time mine does. It's the first week of November, and it's one a week for 6 weeks. So we finish up before the holidays.
Yeah.
So anyway, so hers goes on sale this weekend. And to remind anybody that may not have run with us before, our courses only enroll once a year because, as you've just heard, all these people are very involved in their businesses or their jobs. And so they're so interactive in their course that we can't just run it over and over again. So you only get one chance a year. Steve and Gretel,
to be fair, wait, one question, one thing though, I do have an on-demand course called Making Workshops Work for You.
That's right.
Which people can get at any time. And it is a really good course that I think every flower farm that has good space for hosting people and events, you should totally take it, because not because I care about making money off the course, but because I think next year is going to also be phenomenal for workshops. So if you want to dip your toe into what it's like to take one of my courses, you can look for Making Workshops Work for You through the Gardener's Workshop as well.
And Jennie doesn't know this, but if you register for her Farmer Florist School, there's a special on that course that you can add it on to your school. And she says you have to have space, but she also teaches you in that course how to actually do destination workshops as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, Jenny. I just can't keep it all straight in my mind. So
all
Steve and
good.
Gretel, tell us about what's the name of your course and do you know your dates? This is not a test. It's that I just don't know.
No, I do know actually, because we just got a new whiteboard that I wrote it down on. So our class is growing cut flowers and hoops and greenhouses. So we talk about growing flowers in both heated and unheated spaces. So, and it starts with like, talking about choosing what kind and all of that. So starting from the beginning and then talking about crop planning, and everyone wants to learn about ranunculus. So that's, there's a whole week about spring flowers, a whole week
Yep.
about fall flowers, and greenhouse management and stuff. So our class launches, it's November 19th through the 23rd. And so that's actually the same, November 19th is also the same day that our dahlia tubers launch. So it'd be a busy day for us
Oh my
that day in the office. But yeah, but last year's class, yeah, we had a lot of engagement with people that were excited about growing in hoops. So I hope that the people that were in our class last year, gained enough information and confidence that they went for it. So because now's the time, like we've been talking about.
And so their course, actually the school runs in January and February, right? To about mid-February.
Yeah, so we start whatever the first
Week
full
of
week is after New Year's or whatever,
Yes.
in January,
Yes.
and then it's six weeks long. So yeah, it
And
goes to February.
I think one of the remarks I remember about Steve and Gretel's class from one of their students was like, my mind exploded. There's so much information. I mean, the depth of pest control and crop planning. And anyway, so yeah, but y'all, you can learn all of this by going over onto our website. And I would also recommend that if you sign up for their wait list on their course page, all that means is that we're going to email you, and we email you resources that they have provided. And then we ding you when enrollment opens so you won't miss it. So Ellen, why don't you go?
Okay, so the class is called Growing Your Business with Local Flower Sourcing. It is geared to florists, designers, farmer florists, even farmers who are interested in sourcing from other local farms. And it opens for registration November 5th, and I think it's November 5th through 9th. And our schedule for classes are the same, I think, as Steve and Gretel's. It starts at the beginning of January and ends right before Valentine's Day. So you'll be ready to start sourcing locally early in the season. Yeah, it's a great class. I mean, not because I made it, but I think if you're a florist who is really trying to make the change to source some stuff locally, I think this will put you in a good position. It'll give you a leg up on other people, just in terms of working with farmers and working with your community and things like that.
And that is so true, Ellen. And I mean, we're hearing firsthand from Steve and Gretel how it is so different. I mean, for florists, you can see why florists get put off buying local because they just don't know how it works.
Yeah.
And they try to use their old way and then it doesn't work and it just makes it, and they're already exhausted and frustrated, angry, hurt, broke, maybe over it, I mean, it's just, yeah. So Ellen's course really connects the dots for all that. And I also want to say on the course pages, you can read other student reviews. I mean, you can read what students are saying about it. So Dave's course doesn't register until next June and it runs at the end of the summer, but give us a go right there, Dave.
Yeah, my class usually has registration in mid-June and starts the first week after 4th of July. It covers bulbs, perennials, woodies, and touches a little bit on structures like greenhouses and tunnels, but just the very basics. Steve and Gretel's goes into big detail if you really want to grow in the greenhouse and tunnels. Theirs is the best class to take for that. But it's a 6-week course, learn all about growing all the bulb crops for cuts, perennials, and the woodies. I don't forget, it's like 50 different crops. I forget how many it is. It's a lot. It's a 6-week course, the Facebook group, lots of interaction there. Lots of happy customers or happy students.
Yeah, we just lost Jennie. I don't know if her computer died. She'll probably pop back on here. And then my course is the basics, annual crops, marketing, and more. My course is really about getting people on how the whole flower farming thing works, how to make that transition. And my course just registered and doesn't register again until next October. But I really recommend that you check them out. If you want to get years of experience in just a few weeks, that's what these courses do, but it does more than that. So each of these instructors does weekly coaching sessions with their students. And then you get a live Q&A that's recorded and put in your library, as well as one additional. But the part that we're finding people are really embracing and really loving is the closed alumni Facebook groups, where they are with all their classmates. The instructors drop in and out of there, and they get to have support forever. It goes on beyond the course. So I think it's just, I mean, I'm just so pleased that y'all have decided to become a part of this community, because I feel like we are really helping people build businesses, and she's back.
Sorry.
That's all right. We
just wanna
talked
say
about you
something.
while you were gone.
Good,
I want
good,
to say
as you
something.
should.
I want to say something really quick about Ellen Frost and her local color flowers. She's probably one of the few flower or florist or event designers that use only local flowers. And I don't know of any other florist, Steve and Gretel, you sell to florist, who would buy 2,000 dahlias in 1 week. Have you ever had a florist buy that many dahlias? So, you know, she really puts her money and her business where her mouth is, and supports the local farmers and uses the local flowers. And if you could take her class and mirror her business and do the same thing in your neighborhood or your state, you're going to win.
Yeah, we always said that
Agreed.
everybody needs an Ellen, you know, like,
Exactly.
yeah.
I mean,
If there was a florist like her that was this committed, like in every area, I mean, she definitely helps growers
absolutely.
become
Sell more
who they can
flowers.
be, you know, because they know that they have that support from her. So yeah, the more that can exist, you know, the more that we can all work together to like build this domestic floral industry as a whole, and be less, you know,
Yeah.
less reliant on the imports, because have all built those relationships and made the industry better.
Yeah, Ellen's been doing it for a long time and has a lot of experience, you know, I mean, so it's really cool.
And, you know, I say to growers all the time when I'm talking to flower farmers, it's like you want Ellen to teach your customers how to buy more local flowers. I mean, it's like she trains them how to be better customers to us. I mean, we want Ellen to be in touch with all of our commercial customers for them to figure this out. I mean, I mean that in the best way, you know, yeah. So we have
Right.
all
If you're a farmer, get your florist customers to take Ellen's course and become an Ellen in your neighborhood, and it'll help everybody.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty dadgum amazing. So we need to hop off here. I said 45 minutes and we're 3 minutes over already. But so I just want to say again, thegardenersworkshop.com, just go to our online courses, go to the farming and business schools, and you'll find all of these faces looking back at you. You can learn more about the courses. We do offer a payment plan, but our courses are so affordable. They're $5.95 or $6.95, depending on the course. And it's an investment you will never regret making. I can say that to you wholeheartedly, without a shadow of a doubt. And so we just appreciate everybody joining. And I appreciate you guys being willing to jump on here and in the heat of the moment of the season. So I really thank you. So everybody, what do you want to say? Dave, you go first. What are your closing words?
Oh, I always like to say plant like you plant more than you ever think you could sell, and go out and sell it, because the market is out there for it. Don't be shy when you're ordering your seeds or planting your plants or starting your transplants. Just plant more than you think you need, because you're going to need it.
Ellen?
Well, I think like everybody said, we're all in this together, farmers and florists together. Like this is our time. I think there's never been a time like this for local sourcing and local growing, and, you know, get on board.
Yeah, very true. All right, Gretel and Steve?
Well, I would just say to the growers out there who haven't gotten frost yet, who usually do, our power's behind you. I know we're tired. So yeah, good luck with the rest of the season.
Get some
Stay
rest.
strong. Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, I mean, that this is the time, and for the growers that were on the fence of maybe, you know, I don't know, going in full force and turning it from a hobby into a job, or you had started and now you're thinking about employees and, you know, that like scaling up. Yeah, not to be afraid. I think that, you know, Steve dreams big and I like to work hard, and that's kind of like just how it has like escalated into what it is, but know that the demand is there. Yeah, Frank Arnowski told us once, yeah, if you need to make more money, plant more, and when it's blooming, you'll figure out how to sell it. And
Yep.
I think now, like Dave was saying, like this is the time for that.
This is it. The time has come. Jenny?
I would just say that if you've ever been on the fence about doing weddings or event design or just getting into designing in general, now is the time. And then also just welcome people onto your farm. There's such a huge interest in people getting out on farms to get their hands on flowers. I have never seen so many new designers just popping up, people that there's just like, if you think there's new flower farmers right now, oh my gosh, it's equally matched or exceeded by new designers. So people that during COVID lockdown started buying flowers when they had never really bought flowers before, and now they are utterly hooked and they've decided to start their own business, which is great. But they definitely need some education. And then also we as flower farmers can really be there to be, you know, in stride with them and help coach them and nurture a healthier community. So yeah, definitely if you've been thinking about doing this, this is definitely the time, just like everybody else is saying. And hire help. I'm going to echo what Gretel said. Hire a team. Do not do this on your own. Hire help.
Because you'll never
It's
last.
gonna be a lot.
You'll never
Right.
last.
Yeah.
And Ellen, you need to go now, right? We didn't do you yet?
No, you got me.
Well, folks, I thank you all so much. And I'm going to try to do something now that may or may not work. And I got this idea from Ellen this morning. And I just first want to say thank you to all of our followers that are watching us and that always show up for us and support us. And I thank these guys here for doing it. And this, hang on. Stand by.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
Good night, everybody.
And good night.